Why is it so hard to find anything on Google search? If you feel like it's gotten worse over the last couple of years, it's not your imagination. What if I told you it was on purpose? But why would Google make its own search engine worse? Ed Zitron shows us why in this article that he just published. He did this by reviewing internal executive level emails that were released as a part of the Department of Justice's antitrust case against Google. The accusation that's made in this article I think is pretty hard to deny. And that accusation is that Google leadership made search worse so that people had to spend more time so they would be exposed to more ads, and it would also force advertisers to spend more money to make sure that they are showing up in front of the people they were trying to reach. In 2019, finance leadership calls an all-hands-on-deck emergency because search revenue is not where they expect it to be. And this kind of comes as a surprise to the head of search. The head of search points out there's a big disconnect between what finance wants and what the search team is trying to do. And he basically says there's no way to increase revenue while still delivering a good product to users. If they're going to increase ad revenue on search, it's only going to be by making it a worse product for people who use it. The head of search, who's been with Google for nearly 20 years, is basically sidelined. And this is after he warns everyone that if you make the product worse, people are going to stop coming back. A couple of months later, Google pushes a new search update live. And what it does is roll back changes as far back as 7 years ago that worked to actively improve the results that we saw on the search page. Previous updates tried to make our results less spammy and more relevant. All that is rolled back. Not long after that, the 20-year Google veteran who worked to make search what it was for the company and for the internet as a whole is forced out of search. He's moved over to education. One of the guys who helped lead the charge to make Google worse to increase revenue is put in charge of search. Do you know what he did before? He was in charge of search and ads at Yahoo from 2005 to 2012. When he joined Yahoo, they had almost a third of all web search traffic. When he left, they were down to 13%. And in that same year, they had to lay off 2,000 people. It's not your imagination that Google has become harder to use. The sad thing is they did it on purpose. And no one on this team seems to understand that the worse they make their product, the less people are going to use it, and the less revenue there's going to be for them to squeeze from it in the future. Google used to have a mantra that if people spent 30 seconds or less on the search engine, that meant it was a good, effective product, and that was their goal. I couldn't find the actual goal, though, because when I tried to Google it, I couldn't friggin' find the information. So if you're a brand, you need to look very carefully at your search engine strategy and reevaluate what platforms you want to show up on. Unless you're a very large organization, you're probably not going to be able to have a search engine strategy for every single network that customers might use. You probably need to invest in a user-generated content strategy, either through paid influencers or by encouraging customers to post on your behalf. And if you're a customer trying to use a search engine, good luck.